Welcome to the eCommerce Badassery Podcast, the place for scrappy female entrepreneurs who want to learn actionable steps and strategies to grow the traffic, sales, and profit in your e-commerce business. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster, a 20-year retail veteran who spent 3 years as the only employee of a 7-figure online store. That shit was crazy. I know exactly how it feels to do all the things, and I'm sharing everything I learned the hard way so you don't have to. I may have started this business by accident, but supporting badass bosses like you lights me the fuck up, and I am so stoked to see you grow. Are you ready, babe? Let's roll. Welcome back to the eCommerce Badassery Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster. Before we get into today's content, first let's chat about why we're talking about Q4 when it's still freaking hot outside. Because those who fail to plan to fail. It's cheesy, I know, but it's true. Because when it comes to the biggest shopping season of the year for most product-based businesses, the earlier you start planning, the more successful you'll be. And in fact, most larger companies start planning for Q4 as early as June. Especially if you're trying to get PR coverage and are pitching yourself to gift guides, because that's when publications are planning their Q4 content. Now, if you're new here, first off, welcome. So happy to have you. Second, I want to direct you to some older episodes that will help you plan your Q4 marketing campaign. It's my 3-part holiday planning series. It's episodes 72 through 74. The episodes I'm going to be sharing over the next couple of weeks are all supplements to those. So if you've never listened to them, or if you have and you need a refresher, I recommend that you do listen. I'll put links in the show notes for those and some others that I'll be mentioning throughout today's episode. I also have 2 super low price digital products that can help you map out your Q4 planning. The first is a holiday planning guide, and the second is holiday content prompts for social media and email, and I'll put links in the show notes for those as well. All right, apologies for that long drawn-out intro. Let's get to the content. Because I've already covered overall Q4 planning, like what promotions to run, managing your inventory, and a whole bunch of other fun stuff, today I wanted to focus on some foundational things you'll want to make sure you have in place to set yourself up for success. A few of these things you may already have, and if that's the case, awesome, congrats. You might want to visit them and give them a refresh, but for many of you, it might be the thing you've been putting off, or the thing you did halfway and never quite finished. And that's why I thought it was important to cover this. So first up, and I feel like you probably know what I'm going to say, is to get your email automations in place. If you already have them, amazing. Take some time to go through your metrics and see how they're performing. There might be some tweaks or updates you can make so they convert better. Or maybe things have changed in your business and you just need to update some of the content. Check out episode 19 for benchmark so you can gauge how your emails are doing. And then check out episode 75 to learn what each of those metrics mean and how to improve upon them. If you've got all of that in place and you really want to level up your email, then listen to episode 149 where I talk through Klaviyo's dynamic content feature. This is where you can show or hide content in an email based on conditions that you set and information that you have about your subscriber. So if you don't have your automation set up at all, please get them set up. They don't have to be the most epic emails you've ever created, but you need something. When you think about all the time, energy, and effort you're going to put into marketing your e-commerce business this holiday season, it would be such a shame to not have an inexpensive way to retarget those customers when they inevitably don't buy right away. So listen to episode 143 where I walk you through the must-have email automations for every e-commerce business to get you started. Next up is to give yourself way more time than you think you'll need to set up all of your marketing, create your content, plan out your emails, because everything takes so much longer than we expect. And ideally, you're going to start your holiday pre-launch campaign in October. So you should at least have some idea of your overall strategy in time for that. Which leads me to my next recommendation, and that is to plan a pre-launch around your holiday products and promotions. Now, we're going to talk a bit more about some Q4 marketing ideas in an upcoming episode, and we talk about it in episode 74, but I wanted to touch on this earlier rather than later, just in case you weren't thinking about this at all. I go deep into the process in episode 127, but to touch on it here, the point of this process is to get people really excited about what you offer ahead of when it's actually available. This is a great strategy any time of year, but it's really powerful during Q4 because your customers are going to get bombarded with messaging from so many retailers. By doing a pre-launch, you're piquing their interest early and getting them engaged throughout the season so that by the time you launch those products or that promotion, they've already decided that they want to buy what you have to offer. Another foundational piece you'll want to have in place is Google Analytics. Even if you're completely overwhelmed by all the data and you have no intention on looking at it, make sure it's at least set up so that you are collecting that data and you can refer to it later on. And if you haven't already added GA4, check out episode 139, where I walk you through what you need to know and how to manage using both Universal Analytics and GA4 at the same time. Just remember that Google Analytics cannot track data retroactively. So if you've been putting this off, please carve out time to get it installed. And then the last thing I want to cover for today is cross-sells and bundles. I've talked to you guys about this a lot. But I know sometimes it takes us a while to actually implement things because there's so many other pressing issues to deal with in your business. So here's your reminder to get those set up in time for Q4. There's a pretty good chance you'll see an uptick in traffic throughout the season, so you might as well capitalize on it as much as possible. Now, of course, these are not the only things you can do in your e-commerce business this holiday season. You can learn more about that in the holiday planning series and the episodes I'm releasing over the next few weeks. But the point of this episode was to point out those non-negotiable, foundational things that you really shouldn't ignore. Make sure you check the show notes for all the other episodes and resources I've shared today, along with some other bonus resources. And then stay tuned over the next couple of weeks as we dive deeper into the Q4 planning process. Also, if you have a moment, could you do me a huge favor? Would you share the podcast with another e-commerce business owner who could benefit from it? And if you're not already following the podcast, go ahead and hit that plus button in Apple Podcasts. New subscribers are how podcasts get new reach, and I want to make sure I can support as many e-commerce business owners as possible. I would so appreciate it. As always, thank you so much for spending your time with me today, and I'll see you on the flip side, friend. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you like what you heard, I'd be so grateful if you'd leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're looking to surround yourself with more product entrepreneurs who totally get your life right now, get your booty on over to the eCommerce Badassery Facebook group. Can't wait to see you there. Until next time, e-commerce friends, stay badass.